Hey, Anime Addicts, thanks for tuning into the podcast today. If you want to be an anime addict, if you want to support your favorite anime podcast out there, you can go to our website, aapodcast.com/join. You can sign up, or you can go to Patreon if that's what you prefer. You're going to get 8 extra podcasts a month that are exclusive just to you. We do our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties every week, so you get an extra blast of the AAA podcast extra content when you go to aapodcast.com/join or Patreon, and you can help us continue to run and entertain you week in and week out. And now, time to start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at aapodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 663 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. My name is Mason and we have a fantastic show today to make your anime addiction worse. But first I gotta introduce my co-hosts. First, we have the man who can fart in 4 octaves and puts rum in his coffee. Yeah. We got Mitsugi.
Hey guys, I'm drinking rum in my coffee, but I got a monster too, so don't worry. So we're highly caffeinated today, feeling a little better than last week. I'm ready to go, and we have a packed show for you today, so I'm happy to be here.
Indeed. We also have the woman who can eat cereal with a fork and count to 100 without repeating herself. We got Caroline.
I mean, I guess both of those things are true, but I don't know how you found that out. Hello, everyone.
I have my ways.
I am ready for a good show today.
Excellent.
She drinks
well,
the
actually,
milk.
no, I'm not technically ready because I am trying to put in notes that I forgot to earlier because I ran out of time today to do the notes beforehand. So, not technically ready, but I'm spiritually ready.
I gotta say, real quick, Caroline's having a good hair day today. And
thank you. I just showered and I didn't do anything with it.
And if you're not watching on Twitch, you're fucking missing the good hair day. I have no hair, so, I'm very jealous, but
well,
there you go.
Mason's hair is looking pretty good, too.
Wow.
Thank you. I grew it myself.
He emulated my bangs earlier, and it looked great.
Was he?
It was. It's coming in long. We're going back with the long mode.
Mason used to have long hair.
Yeah, I don't know how long we're gonna grow it out. I don't know if we're gonna donate it again, but we're going. I think one last rodeo for the long hair look and seeing how it plays out.
Very nice.
Anyway, in this podcast today, we have a lot to get to, but first, a little housekeeping. Reminder, you can join us and see all our somewhat alright faces, hopefully we made them acceptable for you, on Twitch, where we stream live every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We also port all of those videos over to YouTube, where you can also watch it, but you can't be part of the comments, so it's kind of not as fun, but it's also kind of funny because I read a YouTube comment on our last Deus Ex Machina video that was just chef's kiss. Because we were talking about the best Deus Ex Machinas in anime, and someone talked about episode, I think 9 it was, of Chainsaw Man, and they called it Deus Ex Machina, because her powers, I was like, that's
nice.
Good. That's real good. But besides that, really the best place to find us is on Discord, or our website, aapodcast.com, where you can find links to our Twitters, our TikToks, our Facebooks, our Amazon affiliates link to help us out, our merch store, which is kind of struggling right now because the Teespring is just, they're a little late. They're just slammed. They're having a rough time. So if you ordered anything, thank you so much. It just is a little delayed.
Order more.
Hopefully you get it eventually. Yeah, exactly.
AAAshop.info, motherfuckers. Go over there. Mason worked really hard. So did Caroline. They've been designing shit.
Yeah, we're trying our best. But the big news that you need to pay attention to is a little voting that you should be doing. What's all this about, Mitz?
Well, the Anime Oscars voting is live, and I will say that the contest for Best Anime of 2022 is razor thin. There are a few anime that are very tightly clustered, And if you want to vote, you can do it right this very second at voteanime.life. It's not .com, it's .life, because I don't have 10 grand to buy the other
All
domain.
I'm picturing is the Homestar Runner intro sequence. Did you ever go to that website, Mitz?
Maybe, yeah, back in the day, maybe.
Homestarrunner.com. It's .com.
It's
But
.com,
it's
baby.
.life, isn't it?
Yeah, so voteanime.life. You can vote for all the anime Oscars polls: best boy, best girl, best intro, best outro, all the genres. Best podcast, baby. You know what it is. But you can vote right now. Voteanime.life, and don't disappoint me.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
What else do we have going on, Caroline?
Another exciting thing that we are putting together for this month, an AAA podcast meetup. So if you are in the Manhattan area or are willing to fly to Manhattan any way you want, if you can get, please join us for a meetup. We are between the days of Saturday, February 18th and Saturday, February 25th. But honestly, it kind of looks like the 18th is what I'd be leaning most towards at the moment. But if we get some information otherwise that people would rather go the 25th, we could possibly change that. Details have not also been decided yet. But eating good food and shopping for manga is always at the top of the list, so that will most likely be a thing. So if you are interested in joining us, you can fill out our Google form. Even if you are unavailable on the 2 days that we are considering, we really want you to fill out the form so that we can plan for the next one in the future. And we have the form pinned in our Discord, in the general channel chat. So if you go to the general channel, you click on the pins, you should be able to find the Google form and fill it out. We are gonna have it pinned on our socials. I'm not sure if it's on there yet, but it's definitely have been posted before. So if you want to do that, that'd be fantastic. And we are so excited to meet up with some people. I think 3 people have, basically RSVP'd for the days that we are thinking. So we're excited that some people have already signed up.
Yeah, exciting stuff. Sorry for people who are not on the northeast side of America, but
sorry.
Maybe we'll do another one another time soon. But regardless, enough housekeeping. What are we going to do in this episode today? Why are you here? Why are you listening to this? Only you can answer some of those questions, but I can get the first one, which is we're doing some winter impressions of all the shows we hope are pretty good, and if we like them, we'll do a review of them when they finish. We're also doing some picks of winter 2023 shows that we would not want to watch at all, and we will see which ones overlap, and we're like, why is this show a thing, and why do people want to watch it? We'll find out. We'll see what we agree on, and we might have a little new rotating segment to surprise you with. So if we get to that, all the better. So you have to stay tuned. But with that, let's get to the big news of the week.
It's time for big news of the week.
So you'll recall that I had a story about the fish that beat Pokemon. What version of Pokemon was it? Like Pokemon Sapphire. The fish on the Muteki Maru channel. Well, there's another Muteki Maru fish, and it is playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I believe, and it is being played by these fish now. And apparently, the fish committed credit card fraud. So there is a story
while it was playing, or
so it's a very silly story. This is mostly a joke, but so the player, whoever the person is who owns the fish, had the Switch running and the game wasn't running, and so the fish was just moving around, clicking buttons, and the fish actually accessed the Nintendo eShop and went and spent a total of $5 on the eShop on something random that the owner of the fish did not actually purchase themselves. So the fish actually went on a little bit of a fish-size spending spree, if you will, with the credit card. And the fish not only changed the nickname registered to the player from Muteki Maru to Ro Wawawa with a yen symbol, and then proceeded to access the eShop and spent 500 yen on the credit card of the person who, owned the fish. So good on you, fish. You work hard. You don't get paid. You got to get in there. You got to get paid where you can. Make your money. That's my bottom fish. That's my bottom fish.
So do we know what the $5 was spent on? Because in a lot of these like free-to-play games, the consumers who repeatedly spend money to get like access to gear or speed up a process, they're often called whales. Yep. So maybe the fish was just trying to become a whale.
Yep. It sounds like the fish merely spent the $5 to add credits to the eShop and never actually spent the credits.
Gotcha. So not a whale, just a fish.
Yeah, just a fish. Try again later. A little beta fish in a big world, trying his best to play Pokemon. And that's the big news for me.
All right, well, in my news, it's actually some music news because the Japanese rock band Radwimps have announced that they are going on a North American tour in April, and the band will perform at the following dates and places. San Jose on April 16th, Los Angeles on April 18th, Mexico City on April 22nd, Chicago April 24th, Toronto April 26th, and New York City April 29th, which is already sold out, and April 30th. So if the Radwimps sound familiar, they played music for a bunch of Makoto Shinkai films, including, Suzume, which is coming out later this year, in North America. And then they have Your Name and Weathering with You, and I really like them. I would definitely go see them in concert, except New York City's the closest one to me, and April 30th is a Sunday, so probably not. And apparently they were going to have a world tour back in July of 2020, but canceled for obvious reasons. And now they're back. So if you were excited originally to go see them sometime, now is the time.
Make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah, I thought about looking into it, but I'm out actually that weekend in April. Surprise! I'll be out at the podcast on that day. But I went to the website like as it opened up for tickets, and it was just slammed with people trying to get it. And I was like, I'm not waiting in line for this.
Tickets, I think they had pre-order, but I think the tickets just went out earlier last week. So the fact that it's already sold out in New York City is pretty crazy.
Yeah, but
for a Japanese band.
So then the Kaguya movie sell out for you also last week? You're just getting a bunch of L's. You can't get to any of the shows you want.
So many L's. And also that's the weekend right before my birthday. So if I could have gone, that would have been pretty cool. But
it would have been nice.
But I'm also kind of busy these months because in early April I'll be going on my international trip to the Netherlands, and then at the end of May, I'm going to a Taylor Swift concert, so gonna be a pretty packed time anyway.
T-Swift or Radwimps, if you had to pick one.
Oh God, that is hard. Taylor Swift, I guess, because that makes me sound like a big old phony, but it's gonna be great.
No, it's okay. That's fine. That's all good. Enjoy it.
All right, Mason, what do you have for the big news?
Big news. Obviously, AI art is a huge point of contention and debate nowadays. And Netflix's Japan YouTube channel is streaming an anime short titled The Dog and the Boy, or Inu Toshonen, done by Wit Studio. And the short features AI-generated background art, which is based on human-created concept layout art and has a final touch-up done by a creator. Netflix has stated that the reason for doing this is a move in an attempt to alleviate the quote-unquote lack of manpower in the anime industry. And I was wondering if either of you guys have seen this, what you thought about it, any opinions on kind of the use or integration of AI in anime and stuff coming forward.
This will be the day that I stop watching anime. Honestly, I draw the line at this. I don't want to be that guy. There's always going to be that listener, that fan that says, oh, well, you just don't love anime enough or whatever. But, I'm the guy who appreciates when the fucking screen vibrates because they don't line the cells up to the exact, half millimeter, or whatnot. And, we abandoned anime cells 20 years ago or so. Now we do them on computer, and they look great. Anime looks great now. Honestly, There's not much to be lost with the anime cells, other than the fact that you can't have glorious framed art of your favorite anime on your wall, as a literal piece of art. You can't do that anymore. And now we slowly move into CG territory, and that's not even the things that most people started to love anime for anymore. And if we're not even going to be making anime with human hands anymore, then I don't even see what the fucking point is of watching it. I'm not going to watch anime. I mean, we joke about how isekai is all the same shit over and over again. It's always the black-haired main character. He's always overpowered. Fuck me, now you're really going to have just this stale bullshit, if we have AIs making anime. So I defend CG anime sometimes. I thought Ajin was a good anime, for example. I like Knights of Sidonia, but I draw the line at computer-made anime. For me, it's over when that happens.
Okay. Caroline?
Yeah, thoughts? I'm not extremely interested in it. I won't officially condemn it, but I can see what Mitsuki's saying. It's not really made with, the creativity of people. It's made with the very basic information a person gave a computer and the computer ran with it. So, yeah, I mean, I would consider watching it, but I can definitely see Mitsuki's point.
Can I just go on a small mini rant for a second?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Honestly, I just want to reinforce a argument and a point that I've made over and over again that I feel like most people don't agree with. We all go to, most of us, we work day jobs. I know all of us do. We work day jobs. You come home, you go to the gym, whatever. You have a few precious hours a day to enjoy to yourself, right? The glorious hours of 6 through 11 o'clock that are your time every day. And frankly, I don't have the fucking time to watch 50 anime a season. So are we really going to hang on to this bullshit of having 50 anime a season, even at the expense of not even having human beings making the anime anymore? Maybe it's time to agree with Mitsuki that if we're at the point where we have to have fucking AI making the anime for us because there's not enough humans to make 50 anime a season, maybe it's time to reduce it to 25 anime a season. You'll get better quality. You're going to have better writing because you're not doing half the anime with writers who have never written before. You're not, first-time directors, animators who can't even draw a straight line. Maybe it's time to drop it to 25, get better quality. Then you'll have the manpower to actually make anime with human beings, and you're not going to have to rely on some fucking computer to do it. Honestly, if I have to hear an argument where people would rather watch a 50th anime a season at the expense of not even having humans make it anymore because they think that they need to have 50 fucking anime a season, I don't even know how someone watches 50 anime a season. Can you guys watch 50 anime a season?
I just don't see how this is feasibly possible, because the problem is not necessarily that there aren't enough people in the industry. It's partially because people don't want to pay people in the anime industry. They're not going to automatically give people better paychecks if they lessen the amount of anime in a season. And they're also not going to say, yeah, let's do less. It's just, no matter what you would prefer, it's not going to happen.
I'm feeling this rum. I put a lot in here. Look, I didn't think I didn't think we'd get into this in Hobby Addicts, but there's only so much money to be made in anime, right? Every industry has a set amount of money that is generated, year to year, right? So let's say that we'll say anime makes $1 billion a year in Japan. I don't know what it is, but let's say it's $1 billion, right? If you make $1 billion and you're spreading it against 100 studios, then every studio gets, I don't even know what that is. I'm drunk. Help me out, Mason. $10 million.
You also called this Hobby Addicts and not the news break or the news section.
I mean, this is relevant though. If you have $1 billion to be made and you're spreading it across 100 studios, then you have approximately, $10 million per studio to be spent. You need to consolidate. Maybe you are having less studios, with their overhead and all their whatever, you're going to be able to pay people more too if you consolidate a little bit. I don't know, but I am not ever going to stand behind the fact that we all know that animators need to be paid more. I 100% agree. I think that having less anime and less studios would help with that, honestly, but I am not going to sit here and watch anime that's made by a fucking computer just so that some person who has no job can watch anime for a 10th hour every day. Go get a fucking job. You don't need to watch 50 anime a season. There is no reasonable way.
I don't think anybody's watching 50 anime.
Well, then why do they make 50 anime?
Because there's more than one kind
They're
of person who watches anime.
Half of them are unwatchable anyway.
But there are some people that will watch it.
I mean,
they're not going for quality, they're going for quantity.
But now you're
getting a little bit more money with the amount of anime they push out rather than the one big anime that they might get a season.
But let me ask you a question, Caroline, and you ought to appreciate this because you're reviewing. I know you're kind of playing devil's advocate, I think, but like let's like you're reviewing anime on the podcast now, right? I mean, would you rather watch a bunch of bullshit every single time you review an anime? It's another like 2 out of 5 isekai because everything is, incredibly average and shitty because there's so many fucking anime? Or would you rather...
I'm not thinking that less anime will mean less shitty shows. There are still going to be shitty shows no matter what.
Well, think about it, right? There's only so many Makoto Shinkais in the world, right? So you got maybe 20 quality directors. They're doing 2 anime a year, maybe 1 anime a year. And then all the rest of the anime are done by people like Mitsugi who have no fucking clue what he's doing because there's just not enough people. It's just the same at any company. Like, you only have so many people that are quality talent. And when you run out of that talent, you end up producing garbage. Like, there's only so many quality animators, so many quality directors, producers. There just aren't going to be 50 quality directors a season. Like, I don't think there's enough people to make that much shit. Like, I don't know. But I don't want to be
the same way with anything. Video games is you have artists and you have people who are just making it because it's capitalism and big corporations want money, and that's how it will be. Nothing will change that. And I guess for me, to me, the use of AI, I'm mixed on it because I think there are some positives. Like, I think AI can be a tool that gives creatives more options, and it doesn't come out of a vacuum. Like, it still requires the artistry of the concept, the input, the filtering and editing. And to me, it's a lot like removing switchboard operators from phone calls back, decades ago when you needed people to manually connect a call to a call. Like,
no, it's not the same.
Streamlining it in some way.
You're talking about putting a plug into a wall. I'm talking about art that requires human emotion and human touch and thought.
I mean, obviously, to some degree, not. And I think the problems with it comes from a lot of AIs are using artwork that is stolen or like fed into it that is not an intended purpose. It's not being used as a tool, but as just a cheap way of replacing talented labor while keeping wages down, while often hurting quality. Like, it's not great. But the biggest issue is, like, they made this short. They didn't give credit to the person who did all the touch-ups and concept art. They gave credit to an AI, and that was it. Like, it reminds me a lot of Sol Levante, which was like a super short experimental, like 4K anime thing that Netflix and Production IG did a little while ago. And it was just a piece of tech, but it really lacked anything. So, like, as a piece of work, Boy and the Dog is nothing. It's just because it's made with AI is what gets people talking about it. And the question is, does the way that an art or image or media comes about, should that matter? And I think it's a tricky question.
This just scares me, Mason, because we all know that with any industry, if companies can make something cheaper and make their profit margins wider, they will.
Well, of course.
And what's going to happen is you're going to put all these animators out of jobs. They're not even going to have jobs anymore because you got a fucking computer doing their job for them. And it's essentially going to be like borderline free for them because you have a computer doing the manual artwork. And so, of course, they're going to gravitate to this as fast as they can. This is just like McDonald's. Like, there's a McDonald's 2 miles from me where there's virtually nobody working there. There's like one cook, and that's it. Because they don't want to pay people the $17.50 an hour that Denver requires. And so they want to be as cheap as fucking possible. So they just got rid of everybody. And now all it is just terminals that you just like go in and you just touch a bunch of screens. And then some sad guy comes out of the back and just drops your food on a rack at like midnight.
I would like 2,000 calorie units, please.
The minute that Mappa can get rid of half their staff and just have a computer do it, that's exactly what's going to happen. And this is
in your ideal scenario where the anime industries or studios consolidate so that the best animators can do the best jobs, you're still getting rid of some of the not so great animators. Like, you might think like they're completely talentless and not doing shit, but like they're still animators.
It's really
they're still gonna lose jobs.
It's really not about the animators to me. Like, I feel bad for them. I think the anime industry is really toxic, but honestly, it's really about the fact that I just don't want to watch anime that's made by a computer. Like, I mean, anime, I'm sitting there watching, we're getting a little long now, but I'm sitting here watching Hajime no Ippo with Pancake, and I'm at like the end of the final fight in the main season. And I'm sitting here crying like a baby for 40 minutes because I get so emotionally charged by the end of that fight and it's such a huge influence on my life and the messages that anime conveys. And if I have a computer doing that, I just don't believe that the same emotion gets conveyed the way that it already is.
I think it's tricky to draw the line, though. Like, say, for example, cells, going from cells to digital. Doesn't matter if someone colors in Hajime's globe to be red or a person clicks on the computer to fill this area with red. Doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't, but there's a slippery slope here. The minute that they do
it
that...
It is, exactly,
and
which is why it's hard to draw the line in the sand.
They'll be like, we managed to have an anime that was colored by a computer. Well, you still put people out of jobs, but you still have a computer doing it. And then the minute that works out just fine, they're going to say, maybe we can push the computer to do the key animations. And before you know it, the whole fucking anime is done by computers. And all you're doing is like inputting some parameters and some like concept art. They're just going to have a folder where they're going to dump concept art. The computer's going to pick it up and go, here's what the characters look like, blah, blah, blah. And then boom, the whole thing's done by computers. I would just rather have 20 anime a season instead of 50 and have them all look far better and have better music and better writing and better directing and better everything, and just cut the other 30 shows loose that nobody wants to watch anyway because they're just like generic 6.8s out of 10 on my anime list that nobody wants to watch. I'm about to fail a few of those today.
We all agree that people want more good shows. I think the problem is when you say, let's 20 best ones, cut the 30 worst ones, and we're about to have a segment where we're going to say, my guesses are the worst shows. Someone's going to be like, well, no, I actually like that show. I was looking forward to it. And it's just, by having so much quantity, while a lot of it isn't to our particular taste, it is to others. And, that's how things grow, by just expanding the market. So I agree with you. But do you think we should move on?
This is going to be a great segue into our topic, but I would just close this out by saying that I am quite older than both of you. I wish I wasn't. It just means I'm going to die sooner, honestly, and that makes me sad. But I love anime from the 80s because it's weird and because it's flawed. And it doesn't line up correctly. Even like GTO looks like shit. That anime looks like shit. I mean... that shit vibrates like like my fucking electric toothbrush because it's not lined up right. But I love the charm of the flawed nature of it, and I love how anime looks grainy from 1988, and there is value to that. And I am old, and the 15 to 25-year-old anime fans just probably won't agree because they don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. And I respect that, but for me personally, if anime becomes that artificial, I just don't think that's what would Miyazaki say? I just don't think that's what anime was intended to be at the beginning. It's art.
Anime was trash anyway.
Yeah, it has and always will be.
And since we're bitching about the shows and that are the 30 out of the 50 that nobody wants to watch, we're doing our winter 2023 anti-picks because you know what? It's going to be fun to talk about the anime that we absolutely would never put on our impression list. And this was inspired by Raggedy Doctor on the Discord, so thank you very much.
Although we actually did a topic like this in the summertime, so I guess he just brought it back up again, and we ran with it.
So we're just going to hate on
anime. And I want to mention, really quick, a shout out to Raggedy for all the questions and stuff he submits. Trivia Club, Trivia Night on the Discord is February 25th on Saturday at 8 p.m. So if you would like to test your anime knowledge, join the Discord, find it on their website, and do it. It's a bunch of fun. You guys have both been to it, right?
I have.
I won my first and only attendance.
There you go.
It is fun.
Batting 100.
And he gets some really good ideas, and he puts a lot of work into it. So go be an anime fan and defeat your fellow friends on our Discord in anime trivia.
So
okay, now let's talk about bad shows.
Yeah.
So we always go through our list, and we all have different methodologies on how we decide which anime we want to do impressions on, right? for example, I tend to sort the anime by the ones that most people are planning to watch so that I make sure that the popular shows get covered. And so in a sense, I'm not even really picking the shows that are necessarily the ones I want to watch, but if one of the ones near the top is some like moe trash that I know I'm not going to like, I just skip that one because I know I'm not going to like it anyway. So we all have our own methodologies, but now we're going to talk about the shows that we never want to put on our list. So we're going to look at the winter 2023 list and decide what the anime are that we absolutely would never want to fucking do impressions on. And because like we couldn't even bear to watch them for an hour in our minds. And we're going to go through these lists and we're going to give the anime and the reason. And I guess I will start just as an example. So the first one I put on my list, and again, this is sort of sorted from like the most popular anime. First one on my list is the anime Tsurune, Tsunagari no Isha, which is the second season of Tsurune, which was an archery anime that I think we reviewed back in like 2019. And this is the follow-up of, like, they had a tournament at the end of the first season, and this is, I guess, the follow-up to that. And it's archery, but it's not like, it's like classical Japanese archery. It's not the kind of archery. Godo or whatever. It's not the Kyoto. It's not the archery you see in the Olympics where they're almost using like crossbows sort of or whatever. This is, more classical stuff. They wear like, kimono or whatever while they're doing their archery or yukata. And I just absolutely would not want to watch this because I'm just kind of done with these lukewarm sports anime. I'm not really, Tsurune was an anime that to my weak old man memory of 4 years ago was really, it's more about the people than the sport, and I'm just not into that. I don't need to like watch a drama about like how sad your childhood was and why this made you want to do archery. I just don't give a fuck, and I don't think I would like Tsurune the first time I watched it. So there's no freaking chance I was going to pick it the second time around. And to me, sports is more about teamwork, competition, winning, and the sport itself. And not about like your own personal stuff. Sports should never be about you, me. It should always be about how you fit into a larger orchestra of effort to outdo your opponents. And to me, there's enough drama in that. It doesn't need to go past that. So yeah, Tsurune. I would not want to cover that. Do you guys agree?
This is why this segment is funny, because to me, winter 2023 has been just full of sequels that I'm interested in. And I've been watching Tsurune, The Linking Shot, the second season, and I'm actually digging it so much more than season one. It is literally all about how the order of their firing on the range is like impacting one another and like the team coming together. And I'm actually digging it a ton. And
cool.
I'm enjoying it.
Cool. It's on High Dive.
I've never seen the first one, but I wouldn't be so opposed to watching it, to be honest. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to segue into mine, so if you want to say something.
I was going to say, I was also very mixed on the first season. I gave it a 5 out of 10, and I was like, I'm going to watch like 1 or 2 episodes, and I'm guessing I'm not going to vibe with it. I'm just going to bounce off of it and drop it, and I have stuck with it. So, second season of Tsurune, if you were somewhat into the first, I'd actually recommend it.
Yeah, I'm mostly just not into sports anime that I need to like the sport to like the sport anime. And I mean, archery is just not that, not all that engrossing to me. So, all right, Caroline, sorry to interrupt. What do you got?
That's great. I really don't have a lot on my list, even though I kind of pushed for this topic somewhat. But the thing is that I think I set my standards of badness too high. Like, it had to be so bad that like, no, never.
It had
would
to
never
scare
watch.
you away.
But because also I have a low standard of anime that I would watch. Like, by the description of the anime that I'm like seeing some sort of interesting point, or not even just like a decent, fine, whatever kind of plot, I'd be like, okay, it doesn't deserve to be on the list. If I could feasibly watch an episode, I don't think so. I'm just doing this purely based on the descriptions and how I would never want to watch. So I only have 3 on my list. And while you guys have like 7. So for my first one, I put down The Misfit of Demon King Academy 2. I have not seen the first one, but from everyone that talks about The Misfit of Demon King Academy Season 1, I realized I probably wouldn't like it all that much. The stereotypical OP character, edgy, girls, wanting to get with him and how he's all that, but he's so not. And by the mere fact that Mitsuki talked about the second season not being even a fraction as good as the first one, I highly doubt that I would get through the season 2 of the Misfit of Demon King Academy. So that is on my list.
I don't think you would like it. And honestly, this season is absolutely just, how do I put it? Polluted with isekai. There's so many. There's like 10. And yeah, I don't think you would like it. So it's probably a good call.
Yeah.
Mason?
Well, speaking of that, my first one on the list is literally just every isekai.
Oh my god. You have them all listed.
I have them all listed, from Ningen Fuchin to The Strongest Exorcist to Reborn to Master the Blade to Saving 80,000 Gold in Another World. All of them.
You didn't list them all. You're missing a couple.
Well, I didn't want to make the table too long and just like extend it. You guys know I don't really care about isekai. I just generally am not into the fantasy world. It's not, it's a fantasy world and not an isekai. It doesn't matter. It just, exactly the kind of vibe it is, the kind of show it is, and I just very rarely engage with any of them on any level. And it's just not my thing. It's a power trip. It's wish fulfillment. It is just very so hard trying to be like, watch this so you don't have to think about how crummy your life is. Yeah. And that's all the thought that goes into it. It's never well written. It's never engaging on any other level than think about how you could be here. And to me, it always comes off as shallow. And usually, because it is so intended to cater from a materialistic standpoint, just feels devoid of any sort of mini character things. It's all the tropes, all the cash grabs tend to be in that vein, and it doesn't do it for me. So I just never pick them.
There are some good isekai like recently, and I don't think this season has any of those, but it's really a shame because some of my favorite anime of all time are isekai, and they're not even from like this decade or even the last decade. Like 12 Kingdoms, isekai, fucking awesome. Resembles nothing about current day isekai. Now and then, here and there. At least not everybody will like that. I like it. Escaflowne, not everybody will like Escaflowne. I love it. The mecha designs and the music are phenomenal. Doesn't resemble anything that is like current isekai is like. But the isekai of today are just not like the ones that we had, like, in the 2000s and in the 90s. So
yeah, and not to say that all isekai are inherently bad. I don't like being the one to filter them out. I love when people say, check out, Jobless Reincarnation. Check out, XYZ. Check out this one. It's one of the good ones. And then most of the time, it's still bad. But every now and then, it's like, okay, this is unique enough, has a good spin on it. Like Grimgar, for example. That one was...
I like that.
Yeah, exactly. It did enough to be... I just don't want to pick them on my list, so that's all I got.
Big shout out to Rainbow Warrior, who loves Escaflowne as well. I really think Escaflowne is maybe Yoko Kanno's like best OST. I'm not really sure. Bebop is so fucking good, but man, it's just a different type of music. But I think it's really strong. The second one for me is Bungo Stray Dogs season 4. One, I'm like,
I'm loving the season. It's so good.
I'm like 3 seasons behind on Bungo Stray Dogs, but also, and so I'm speaking kind of out of my ass here, but to me, Bungo Stray Dogs is mostly an anime about like pretty boys and like pretty boys that fight and are like historical authors. And I know people are loving this because it's like the second highest rated anime of the season, and it's whatever. But like, I'm not gonna watch an anime that's about like the fake reincarnations of famous authors or whatever that just happen to look extra glossy and pretty. It's like I'm really not watching anime for pretty boys. Like, that is not why I'm here. So
I see. I love Bungo. I love the writing. It's so much smarter than the average show, and I love learning because some random Japanese author will pop up who is like obviously a big name over there, and it'll be like someone who's like on their currency, and I'll have no idea, and I'll just go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole mid-episode, like, okay, who is this guy? What did he do? What did he write? What was he known for? Or he killed himself. That's probably going to pop up in the episode later. I should keep that in mind. Like, I don't know. I just find it to be not the cleverest show out there, but generally compelling enough in what it is going for that it succeeds better than it should.
But
so
it is about
enjoy
pretty boys, though, right? I mean,
they look so dashing.
I mean, yeah, exactly. So whatever. It's fine.
Don't be a hater, Mitsugi.
This whole topic's about hating.
More handsome
This
than
whole topic
you.
is hating. It's like, what do you hate, basically? I don't know. Anyway, what do you
I'm
hate,
not going to
Caroline?
argue. Like, both of these on Mitsu's show on list, I would not recommend to him. The point is that we can all say, oh, these 30 shows this season suck. And that some other people are going to be like, well, actually, that's kind of my jam.
Yeah, I don't think Bungo Stray Dogs actually sucks. I just think that, like, I wouldn't want to watch it because I don't give a fuck how pretty somebody is. So, I just explained how I like anime that looks flawed. Like, what do you hate, Caroline?
Oh, I think people would probably know this one anime would be on my list. In fact, it was mentioned in our Twitch chat by someone saying, who wants to bet this is on Caroline's list? It's My Life as Inukai-san's Dog.
You're going to end up watching this one anyway.
Please don't.
Because
this is basically the best way for the troll voters to figure out what to put on our list.
But
so let's do the synopsis, shall we?
Isn't this season's harem isekai?
No.
No?
I don't know.
It's
fuck.
It's worse.
Oh, so I was hoping people enjoyed that last hentai extravaganza so much that I was thinking we should do that again.
Oh, no, if you want to have that experience, this would be the show to do it.
Yes.
It's just a little furrier than that one. Go ahead, Caroline.
All right. This show is with this synopsis. On a rainy afternoon, a male high school student awakens freezing on the streets with no memory of how he got there. His classmate and crush, Karen.
Her name's Karen?
Her name's Karen Inukai. Or I guess Karen. Her name's Karen. She finds him and takes him back to her home where, to a surprise, she starts to undress. She seems intent on bathing with him, though he has no idea why. When she holds him once more, he catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror, discovering that he has been turned into a dog. Inukai adopts the puppy and names him Pochta, which very, very inferior Pochta compared to other Pochta, so we have seen. Now he must adjust to life as a dog and figure out how to get out of this strange predicament. But while he mulls over an escape plan, Pochta sees a whole new side to Inukai that he never saw at school, probably her boobs.
Yes.
That was not part of the synopsis, but please
next
tell me
time
how,
on Dragon Ball Z.
How does one just... I feel like you should be able to realize that you have dog limbs without looking in a mirror. You should realize that. It doesn't take a genius to figure out what your body looks like without a mirror. 2, this entire thing is so stupid!
3,
oh
who showers with their dog?
Exactly! Who does that?
Are the titties big?
And where you bathe with your siblings and all that stuff, and that's normal and that's fine.
Answer the question.
Well, who bathes with their dog?
Are the titties big?
I mean, for the most part, you see their tights because their legs because this dog is like on the ground. There's probably going to be a lot of upskirt, but from the looks of it, her boobs are substantial.
Look, I'm not good for much in this world, but I can tell you if a pair of titties are big or not. So I'm going to watch the trailer here, and we're going to find it. Oh, it's the Not Safe for Work trailer. I love it. Yes.
Why be God when you can be dog?
Wet T-shirt.
It's going to be the drinking game of the season, you think?
It will be. She's walking in the rain, but she walked in the rain long enough so that her white school uniform could get wet, and then she opened her umbrella. Okay, she's checking out the Genkan. I'm skipping forward. Up there. Oh, okay, they're definitely big. Yep. Oh, she's taking off her panties. Okay, the bra's off. And there's Inukai. There's Pochta, the dog. He's so cute. Oh, she's cute, too. Hey, girl. You looking so fine. All right. Wow, we're definitely watching this. I'm gonna start watching this shit tonight.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is the trash of the season. See, like, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. You can watch... Man, there's a lot of vagina shots in this trailer.
Well, can you see why? He's at the perfect height for it.
Listen, you can watch all the boring isekai you want. We can watch all the boring rom-coms. It's the same shit over and over again, but at least you get the spectacle of saying, what the fuck am I watching when you put on something like Inukai? But I don't blame you for not wanting to watch it because it looks like utter trash, and I have a feeling that you end up watching it anyway. But Pancake will be there to hold your hand, and you guys can make fun of it together.
Should there be a drinking game every season?
There probably should be.
The worst show of the season.
If this whole podcast was just a drinking game every time where we reviewed like the naughty stuff, we'd probably like explode and become like, we'd probably all retire. Anyway.
We could not have our daily jobs so we can watch 50 shows a day.
I'll watch a stupid dog ecchi for $1 billion.
I don't know how fucking people watch 50 anime a day. I don't think anybody actually manages that.
Okay, now we're getting back into this discussion.
Mason, what do you got, bro?
I don't know much about this next one, but I do know the title. And the title alone, if I had to genuinely and sincerely tell somebody I was watching this show, I think I would just have a nervous breakdown. And that is Giant Beasts of Arse.
Arse?
Arse.
I considered putting it on my list.
Maybe it's ours, but I've seen it.
It should be Arsu.
Arsu, but on the Discord, people like putting the E at the end of it.
Of course they do. Yeah.
And I don't know. It just the not the PV, but the image, the promotional art for the show on any list looks incredibly bad in so many ways, and it looks like flat CG where everyone is posing in such a odd way. It just looks bad, and I don't need to read anything about it. I didn't read synopsis. I didn't read the tags or the.
No, it's such a long synopsis. It's crazy. I think we should read that one too.
I mean, the main fucking character's name is Mia, like Nya, like meow, but with an M.
Well, there's a cat on their head. So.
Yeah, so that's enough of a reason to bail on that shit.
It just, I can't take it seriously. It looks like a really bad version of that. What was it? Fena, the pirate princess show. It looks like that mixed with, I don't know, Darling in the Franxx with just weird. It just looks bad. I don't know what more to say about it. It's called Giant Beasts of Arse. I think I made myself clear.
I mean, the other main character's name's Kumi. Just kidding. It's Kumi. No! It's Kumi. I did that just for you, Caroline.
Of course you did. Okay. I'll give you a jelly bean for that one. I feel like a raggedy doctor in our Discord is in the middle of a big old bet with Lady Emery about when I'm going to finish these jelly beans. Emery is going to win by a long shot because Raggedy Doctor thinks betted for March. There's no way I'm going to get through this by March. So he's been kind of
need to step it up and just like
extremely lewd so I can eat more jelly beans.
I mean, we could always just read our My Anime lists for a whole episode and have you eat hundreds of them at once.
That is the best way to do it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. All right, my next anime, for really no particular reason, is Kubo-san. Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, which just sounds like every other fucking rom-com that's ever come out. You have a boy named Junta who is just like this average guy, but he's apparently invisible to his peers, aka he's just like not popular. He's just like the normal kid that just coasts through school and doesn't really make any waves. And then, but there's one person who notices him. It's the girl seated right next to him, as if, of course, you fucking idiots. She sits next to him every fucking day. There's no way she couldn't notice him. In fact, everybody else notices him too, because he's a living fucking human in the school. And I've been in Japanese schools quite a lot in my life, and the classrooms aren't very big. And there's a lot of people in those classrooms, and they give equal attention to everybody, and there's no fucking way he was invisible to begin with. I understand it's very romantic. And then she's determined to let him quietly, she's going to like, I'm sure they're going to fall in love and they won't actually do anything because he's going to be a blithering, spineless MC. I've seen it a million times. So yeah, this is just an anime that would torment me. And so, although Kubo is cute, but yeah.
This one's on my list. And I'm not doing an impression on it this week, but I'm doing it next week. And I have watched a few episodes, and it is extremely cute, and I love it. But you are wrong about one thing. He is almost literally invisible.
But it's
It's so stupid and illogical, but
Yes.
literally, even automatic doors do not sense him.
That's
That's
stupid.
pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Okay,
Stupid. It
whatever.
doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You are right. It does not make sense. But no, he is invisible in most senses of the word. Oh gosh, and it's so cute. And I know you would not like watching this, but it's
Well-
pretty good so far. And yeah, I'll talk more about it next week. But
It's just because in these shows nothing tends to happen. You know, it's the same reason why I'm gonna fail a particular anime that I thought I was gonna pass for first winter, because nothing fucking happens, and I just don't have the patience to sit here and watch nothing happen for 4 hours. Caroline, what do you got? It's your last one.
Okay.
You're at the end of your list.
yeah, honestly, I wish I put more on my list, but
I got like 5
whatever
more.
I would have put on my list, you guys probably already have it anyway. So 1 second, the computer is being very frustrating at the moment. Okay, so the last thing I put on my list is the Ice Blade Sorcerer shall rule the world, because what the fuck is that name?
Ice
Okay,
Blade. It sounds like a guaranteed isekai. It's guaranteed tsundere girl.
No, from the looks of the synopsis, there's no tsundere girl, but there is another character from. Okay, so remember how I talked about Ningen Fushin and the main character's name was Nick, and we're like, why would you call it?
Yes,
Nick
how could
in
I
a
forget?
Fantasy world. A very similar situation here. Here's the synopsis. As the first commoner to attend the prestigious Arnold Academy of Sorcery, Ray White is immediately
Ray White?
the most generic American name there is.
Ray
he's
White?
Ray White. He is immediately met with contempt from some of the students hailing
Jesus.
from nobility. Huh. Unbeknownst to him, or unbeknownst to them, Ray's real identity is that of the famous Ice Blade Sorcerer, a hero who led the country to victory in a past war and is one of the 7 strongest sorcerers alive. Despite his legendary status, Ray wants nothing more than to live out the ordinary school life he never had. Ray quickly makes friends with some of the most influential students thanks to his kind and amiable nature, meaning he is just generic and boring. Unfortunately, as those with nefarious motives make their move, Ray might soon have no choice but to use his true power to preserve the bonds that he makes at his new life worthwhile.
Well, he might be the Ice Blade Sorcerer, but he looks like a fucking stick that I could break over my knee like a twig.
Highly likely.
These fucking like
It's just these
110-pound like male characters. I just want to, as a person who currently weighs 194 pounds of like pure steel, I could snap this guy over my fucking knee like a ruler, like a ruler in high
it's
school.
not real, Mitzi. I hate to tell you.
Well, but like these characters are so
But-
fucking puny. Like, good lord, like how are you gonna be a hero when you can't even lift your fucking backpack? I'd love to know
He
this.
has the Ice Blade. He doesn't need anything
Well,
else.
he's gonna need lots of something.
It's just, you can break this down, this entire synopsis, into its basic points, and you could find 100 other anime that do the exact same thing, and it's just so dumb.
Well, they're all dressed the same.
No, would not want to watch. Well, they are school uniforms, Mitsuki.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good call. Honestly, I wouldn't want to watch.
Wake
this one
up,
either.
sheeple.
Yeah, wake up, motherfuckers. All right, what do you got, Mason? Run out of time.
Speaking of people who are all dressed the same, I've got to go with the male idol show of the season, which is Unite Up with an exclamation mark at the end.
That was
so
one of
you
mine,
know
too.
it's exciting. It's a dime a dozen, a group of 10 plus pretty boys in a group singing
God.
songs, all different colored hairs, all different personalities to collect them all kind of thing. It looks like another generic idol show. Good on the people who like it. It's just not my thing.
I mean,
Idol
I don't-
shows already are very just not my cup of tea, and this one looks to be no different.
I don't want to watch it because I'm not a 17-year-old girl. I mean, that's on my list too, but like, what the fuck? Honestly, listen, let's put aside all of our like social commentary. What 37-year-old man is going to want to watch an anime about a group of fucking 12-year-old idol boys?
I mean, it could be
ain't
good.
me.
It could be interesting.
Yeah? Really?
Any show has a possibility of being interesting.
God.
Humans are interesting, and I like watching them no matter what their hobbies are, whatever their interests are. Like any sport of any kind, any activity, any hobby has the capacity to be interesting and engaging.
I'm not open-minded enough for that. I'm like...
And that's fair.
Yeah.
This doesn't look like it's doing anything different, though.
I see I go to like the ice cream shop over in like the Asian area of town, and I see like the little, like the Korean like pop idols, like the boys on TV in there, and I'm like, they just look like, I don't know. Never mind. I'm just gonna get in trouble for talking. I think we all know where that was going.
You'll get in trouble for talking, anyways.
I mean, they just look hyper effeminate. Like, I don't know why these like Korean boy band guys always like want to look like chicks, but like I don't know. That's how I like. I'm not gonna.
Fashionable. It's trendy. It's a look.
Not for me. It's not.
Money, Mitsugi.
Apparently it does, but not. It's not making my money. All right, I'm gonna give you one more for no apparent reason.
You're not the demographic.
Exactly. Why would I want to watch an idol show about 12-year-old boys? I'm 37.
And that's fine. And that makes, general sense. You're not the demographic. And therefore, somebody else is. Somebody's going to watch it. You're probably the demographic because it's probably the idol boys that are like, 20 in Korea are probably, promoting to 20-something, girls. That's I have to imagine that's the truth. I don't. Anyway, now that I'm in trouble and everybody hates me, the next one is I'm not going to give a reason really because we're out of time. The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, which is apparently a very popular show with a very high rating and everybody's watching it, but I don't know, it just looks like another like slice of life rom-com where I'll have to wait till the end of the show for a handhold, and it's another sad-looking black-haired male character boy with an overly hot blonde chick who is going to like change his life or some shit because she's the angel and he's like a loser probably, and he has to be. I mean, he looks like the saddest, most emo motherfucker in the world. So, are you doing impressions on this one? No, I don't have this one.
You're just chuckling like
yeah,
like you know more than me, and you probably do.
No, it's probably true.
Yeah, he just looks like like Sasuke or Miyata or one of these like hyper like emo like brooding dudes that with black hair, and she's like it's like if the guy from Dress Up Darling lost about 6 inches of height, and the girl didn't, and Marin Kitagawa didn't change a goddamn bit, but became a little bit more innocent looking. That's what this anime is, because this girl looks. It's the same type of. I don't know. Fuck it, they're all the same. A fucking AI made this anime.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, I had a bunch more on my list. One of them was Trigun Stampede. I wouldn't want to watch that because it's horror, like just putrid looking CG, and then the rest don't need to be mentioned because they're all just rom-coms that I wouldn't want to watch. Okay.
Shall we get to our weekly trivia question?
Yeah, really quick, I just want to add Onamai, I'm Now Your Sister. That's obviously on the list too. Okay, now we can move
I was
on.
thinking about that one too. I'm like, this seems really problematic.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway.
Okay. As I collect my jelly beans for those two last mentions, let's get into our weekly trivia question. In Campfire cooking, that's another jelly bean, in another world, the MC gains a very hungry familiar that is what well-known mythical animal god? We will give you the answer after the news break, and then after that we will get to our new rotating topic that I'm very excited for, so don't go anywhere.
Hey Anime Addicts, Mitsugi's here, and I'm bringing you your anime news break, getting us started off with the Given manga, the music property that was made into an anime that was adapted into a 12-episode series that came out in the summer of 2019. Cherry Plus, the magazine, has announced that in their March issue, which is coming up pretty soon, that the Given manga is going to end. So if you are a fan of the Given manga or the anime, well, look out below because it is coming to an end here very shortly. Next up, the My Hero Academia manga has shipped its 37th volume, and in the course of that, the official Twitter account for the property revealed that the manga has sold over 85 million copies in circulation. So this is a huge undertaking and achievement for My Hero Academia, which puts it amongst some of the most highly sold mangas ever, with the 85 million copy mark, which is obviously no small feat. Puts it up there in the conversation with things like Demon Slayer and others. So for fans of My Hero Academia, big success, celebrate, and we'll see what the property has coming down the pipeline. Next up, Chainsaw Man, however, is pretty much the most popular thing in the United States right now. The NPD BookScan Top 20 Adult Graphic Novel list, which pretty much tabulates the sales of media in various categories, has the top 20 manga spots ranked, and it looks like Chainsaw Man is about all of them. Chainsaw Man is number 1, number 3, number 6 through 9. So the only notable exceptions are Kaiju number 8, which came in at number 2, Spy Family, which came in at number 4, and Jujutsu Kaisen, which came in at number 5. So not particularly close. Chainsaw Man dominates, and it's also most of the ranking from 12 through 20 as well. So that is top of the pile right now. It looks like Chainsaw Man is king. Next up, we have some corruption news related to the Tokyo Olympics. The major Japanese advertising firm, Dentsu, admitted to rigging bids for contracts related to the Tokyo Olympics. This came out during some questioning with the Tokyo District prosecutors last week. On Wednesday, the prosecutors, they charged Hironori Aoki and his brother Takahisa and Katsuhisa Ueda, all former executives of other investment companies, Aoki Holdings, with giving 28 million yen, or about $215,000 in bribes to former Tokyo Olympic Committee members, and they're seeking up to 30 months in prison for the brothers. So it just goes to show you that the Olympics is very corrupt, even in Japan, which may, I should say, have less corruption than you might expect from other countries. It's here as well, as the bribes continue to flow, trying to get some financial advantage due to the Olympics. And next up, it looks like the manga Hametsu no Oukoku, or the Kingdoms of Ruin, is getting an anime adaptation in 2023, done by director Keitaro Motonaga of Date A Live from Studio Yokohama Animation Labs. Humanity flourished through the power of magic, a gift from witches to aid mankind, but times have changed. The scientific gear expansion has made both magic and witches obsolete, and in order to liberate humanity from the blight of magic, the mighty Radia Empire began a ruthless hunt to exterminate all witches. So if you're a fan of fantasy action properties, look out for the Kingdoms of Ruin coming out here pretty soon, sometime in 2023. And want to see more about that when it releases. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now it's time to get back to the podcast. So you're at the grocery store. Options at the sushi counter were a little thin. Spicy tuna rolls will have to do. But you know what else is a little thin? Your patience. You were listening to your favorite podcasts, but now all you're listening to is this little robot lady yap at you.
Place your item in the bagging area.
If only you had the AAA podcast's extra content, you wouldn't have even heard her talking to you over the sound of our hobby addicts, our hentai episodes, and our after parties. But now you're about to get arrested for assaulting Wally over here. Goddamn robot bitch. Little Billy's sitting at home about to go hungry while Mommy and Daddy are becoming somebody's new favorite down at the Slammer. Don't let little Billy go hungry. Head over to aapodcast.com/join our Patreon today and support the podcast. Again, that's aapodcast.com/join or Patreon.
Place your item in the bagging area.
Yeah, I'll put you in a bag. Welcome back to the podcast. We had a trivia question when we left you, and if you're smart, you'll know it. And if you didn't get it right, well, you're still smart. In Campfire Cooking in Another World, the main character gains a very hungry familiar that is a well-known mythical animal god. What is that animal god? The answer is Fenrir, the wolf. And he's very hungry, and he likes Wagyu beef. And we'll be talking about that later, much later on the podcast. But first, we got some new stuff for you guys. We're going to be doing a new segment here. We're going to try it out. It's called the Day in AAA History, and then we're going to be doing mailbags. And after that, we're going to get to the second round of our Winter 2023 impressions. So that's all a very exciting, jam-packed second half of the show. This segment is brought to you by Caroline. Caroline, are you ready to suffer through the drop I made for you very quickly and get started?
Let's go.
And now, great moments in Anime Addicts Anonymous history.
So this is a new segment where we will be taking a little blast from the past as I kind of watch a few of the older episodes of the AAA podcast, because as I'm sure you are well aware, we are like over 650 episodes in over the course of how many years, Mitsugi? How long have we been here?
About 13.
Yeah, 13 years
Yeah.
of peak content
Yes,
that you
right.
just forget about, because it's one and done. You probably don't really think about it much after the course of 13 years. But, I've been listening to a few episodes here and there. And
they're terrible.
There are some really good moments that we just kind of forget about, especially when you consider the fact that so many people have been on this podcast that maybe people who have just started the podcast recently are not familiar with. So we can go through a few fun tidbits that I found. Now, these might be funny or ironic looking back at it, or just a little silly. And I would really love it if people send me in some clips of moments from previous shows if they want to. So we can have more content here, and I can also help out with listening through the podcast episodes. But let's get started, shall we?
Would you like clip number 1?
Yes, but let me do a little bit of an intro for this.
Okay.
So we are going back to episode 457. This is called Winter 2019 Anime Impressions Begin. That's the title of the episode. And it's back from January 2019. And in the middle of this episode, the podcasters, I believe that includes Mitsugi, of course, Kazuo, then there's Mandy and Enzo there as well. And Kazuo is presenting what his Toonami fantasy block would be. And this would feature Devilman Crybaby. But Mitsugi explains something about Devilman Crybaby, in that it should not be rated R, which really surprised me. So let's listen back at it.
If you're not high, you're gonna be high after watching Devilman Crybaby.
Okay, wait a second. All right, so I gotta stop here for a second.
Yes.
Devilman Crybaby, despite how it's rated on Netflix, how is it rated on Netflix?
PG. I'm just kidding.
R. It's rated R.
Yeah.
Okay,
R.
so
So it's airing
As
at
it
1
should
o'clock
be.
in the morning
no.
That's fine.
on cable.
I would like to argue with you that this show should not be rated R. Because I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Rated R, as defined, is that a minor of any age can watch this with an adult.
Oh, you would say no minor should watch this.
And
period.
I will tell you that no child ever of any age, regardless of parental guidance, should never watch Devilman Crybaby.
Right.
This show should be
Should be
NC-17
NC-17.
for sure.
Yeah.
100%. Because
you're
there
right.
is no possible way you can show this to like a 14-year-old.
You're right.
But I will say though that at 1 a.m. I think cable rules are different. And
Definitely.
you probably could air Crybaby.
Yeah, you could have like
At 1
swear
a.m.
words at 1 a.m. on cable. Like Comedy Central does that.
Dude, there's like
Yeah.
straight up
Can
sex
you have
scenes.
vagina monsters?
I don't think so. So they may have to edit
Okay.
it a bit. I'm not sure.
Dude, a woman's titties bite off a man's head.
Right. I
That's
remember
true.
that. I remember that.
That does happen.
It does have it.
And her
It does
vagina,
have
not
it.
wrong.
a vagina slices a guy in half
Hey,
like a pizza.
This is my Toonami block, okay?
I'm just saying that happens.
Yeah, so that was
It did
that was at first I was thinking, what is he talking about? It cannot be rated R. And then it made sense as you explained it. But yeah, it was just a funny little tidbit right there. But later on in that episode, same episode 457, Kazuo is reviewing The Promised Neverland, or doing his impression for it. But he's worried about one thing in particular, which I think is very funny looking back at it.
You want the second clip?
Yes, please.
This show is very unique, and it's something that is, at least so far, way above the board of just a regular anime. I am a little concerned because it's only 12 episodes, and we're 3 episodes in, and they haven't really gotten anywhere.
And isn't the manga pretty long?
Yeah, so it's like,
yeah,
this is a show that is, in order to serve it correctly, is going to have to run for a long time. So I'm really hoping that they're able to, don't rush it, get through the 12 episodes at your normal pace.
The mere fact that he says, don't rush it, and they went full steam ahead to get it done in 2 seasons, it just kills me, and the irony of that. And we have one last one for you here, and this comes from episode 400, A New Beginning. This was back in December 2017. And in this little clip, Mitsuki was announcing the winners of the weekly trivia back when we still did that. When Kazuo hears an interesting listener name that inspires the perfect Valentine's Day gift. Roll the clip, please.
The correct answers were, this is too difficult to read, Brains the Trash Panda, Fori Stickman, Bonta-kun, Kusei, or QE, Chibi Rob, Frigimon Fanatic, Yotoda Vegeta, Black Shinobi, Full Metal Alcoholist, Icy Rose, Outlaw Messenger, Oh My God, You Took My Cat, That Bearded Guy, Dick Chocolate, I Said No Tomato, Father of Ronin, Kyojin 13, Oh My God, It's Derpy Murphy, 7 Star 7, and Golden Jedi Link. Brains the Trash Panda has won for the week, and I think that was the first time.
Nailing these names, man. I'm loving it.
Are you ever going to not laugh at that one name?
Oh, Dick Chocolate?
I was trying not to say it again.
No, I will laugh every time. Do you want to know why I laugh at Dick Chocolate?
Yes, I do want to know,
It's a little
actually.
lewd. I once jokingly had an idea of, what if, as a gift, like a Valentine's Day gift, because, you give chocolate and things like that during Valentine's Day, but what if you had a chocolate mold of your dick?
Well,
yours personally.
Yes, and I gifted that. You get a chocolate mold of your own dick, cream-filled,
Oh, God.
ideally. We'll call it Choco Cock.
well, I don't know about
God.
I don't know about your own cock, but they have you can buy a large 3D penis chocolate mold on Etsy for $6. Caroline's laughing at her.
Oh my God. I just
I just want to say that as I get older, I totally changed my opinion about Devilman Crybaby. I think that anime is fine for like 14 and up. We can get no, fuck it. You know what? 10-year-olds. Let them in. Let them in. Let them in. They're going to find out what the real world's about.
Traumatized.
Listen, they're going to be traumatized anyway. They're already on TikTok. So they're already like seeing, the unspeakable. So you might as well just throw them in the deep end. If you want to watch a woman's tits bite off a man's head, fuck it, let them do it. I mean, they have the internet. Pornhub's not. It doesn't age. It's not age restricted. Come on, you don't think 12?
What?
You don't think
That's
12-year-olds
true?
know what Pornhub is? They definitely do.
I'm sure they know of it, but it's not age restricted?
No, fuck no. You can go to Pornhub right now. It doesn't do anything. It just loads. Boom. 400 porn videos right in your face. 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing's age restricted on the internet. You don't have to type your age and password in. You don't have to sign in. Oh my goodness.
But
Man.
yeah, that last one was a favorite of mine, so I put the best for last.
That was pretty good.
And so that is a day in AAA history, and we will do this again some other time.
That was fun.
If you are listening back to old episodes and you find a little nugget of something fun that we should listen to, send it along. Send it to me on Discord, and we'll make it great.
Whatever happened to Dick Chocolate anyway?
I'm sure it's the thing. I'm sure somebody ran with that idea. Somebody stole Kazuo's idea.
I miss our friend Dick
sure of it.
Chocolate.
I think you meant the person behind the entity.
Oh.
The man behind the
I hope he's
yeah, of
doing
course.
well. Or they.
Dick Chocolate, if you're still around, I need to hear from you. I need to know that you're okay, that you're safe. That I need to know if you're dark chocolate or milk chocolate. So just get on the Discord, say hi, send me a DM, slide into my DMs with that chocolate dick. All right, and Are you ready for mailbags?
Sure.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime. Anime. Anime.
Mailbag. All right, my friends, if you want to leave a mailbag, aaapodcast.com/mailbag. It'll take you straight to the mailbag section where you can really submit a lot of inquiries that are, mailbags and more, we'll call it. There's a lot of stuff in there, so just explore it. Enjoy the fact that that's there for you, and you can be a part of the podcast as well, just like This Is Heavy did. I imagine Dick Chocolate's like, he's probably heavy. What do you think?
Let's not make assumptions.
All right. Yeah, he's sticking on a scale. All right. So, good evening. Do you have any advice for an older anime fan, about Mitz's age, they say, for attending his/her first anime convention? It's not that I'm embarrassed to go or embarrassed for liking anime, but I get the feeling that most of the people attending the con are probably much younger. You're right. Maybe it's just a self-conscious thing, but I don't want to seem like an old, weird, creepy guy. Or tips for going by yourself in general when your husband/wife doesn't want to go with you. Thanks. So, I wouldn't be worried about being embarrassed that you're older being there, but I would definitely stick to panels that you want to see. There's going to be a schedule of panels and if it's a big convention, there's probably going to be studios that attend or directors and some voice actors. So it seems to be to me that most of the chaotic teenage nonsense happens in the hallways, of the convention. The massive dancing groups and all this other stuff that happens. If you want to avoid that stuff, the panels are a great way to do it, because I feel like, to me, at least in my experience, the younger audiences really aren't interested in the informational panels. They're mostly there to treat the anime con like a party. And if you're not into that, just go to the panels. Also, if it goes into the late night, I would attend that, since most of the adult subject matter, not just sex stuff, but also just the general content geared more towards adults, is going to happen later in the evening. And there's going to be a lot less 14-year-olds at 11 p.m. at night. So that would be my advice, but I wouldn't be ashamed of going because you're older. No one cares. It's but if you don't want to be around a bunch of screaming 12-year-olds, the panels are probably the best bet. What do you guys think?
I think it's honestly the same recommendations. Anyone who's never been to a convention before, just make sure you sit down, you shut up, you shower, and drink water, and you'll be fine. You'll find what you like doing. If you like hanging out and seeing the cosplayers and taking photos of that, just be respectful. If you like hanging around dealers' halls and artist alley, just be respectful. Make sure you aren't blocking people's time and just getting in the way. Just be aware of your surroundings, take it all in. It's a lot, but it's just stay in your own lane. No one cares about you. So just don't sweat it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I feel like I've only been to one con, but I feel like there was a wide variety of people there that probably wouldn't really, a guy that's Mitz's age, there's probably a bunch of them at cons. So, yeah, you don't worry about it.
All right, Mason, you take the second mailbag?
Sure. I'm just picturing worst case scenario. You're walking around and some weirdo's like, "Oh, what's an old guy doing here?" And you'll be like, "Oh, I'm just here with my kid." And then you pretend to look down at where your pretend kid would be and be like, "Oh shoot, Lucy, where'd you go?" And make a big no, nobody cares. Next mailbag comes from Lady Emery. Hello, lovely host. I'm hoping to keep this short and sweet. I absolutely hated the opening in Birdie Wing. What are some openings that just grate on you that you have to skip? Keep up the great work. Bad OPs. Caroline, what do you got?
Well, I made an entire TikTok about it, about how I do not like the To Your Eternity OP. I just really don't. And to make matters worse, they use it again in the second season. And I like To Your Eternity, but damn it, I don't like the OP. So many people like this OP, and I just don't see what's so likable. I also couldn't stand Moribito's OP either, and because it's so not what the show is like, and also it's just kind of grating, as you would put it. There are certainly more, but those two are what I specifically remember, because honestly, once I just don't like an OP, I listened to it once, and I probably figured it out, and then just skip it the rest of the way.
That's fair. Mitsugi?
Honestly, I couldn't really think of I don't watch the OPs a lot nowadays, or the EDs or whatever. I'm usually trying to get through the anime efficiently, and so that usually, leads me to save 5 minutes of every episode by just skipping this crap. But I generally don't like the OPs that sound like ramped up like DDR music. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty fucking good at DDR, but I am. I could have
been known to stomp on a few arrows in my day.
Yeah, I could have competed back when I was in college, but like that aside, I don't think I could play DDR for like 3 minutes like that nowadays. My back would not allow it. But that's called getting old, people. If the song has is like 200 beats a minute and is sung by mostly like screaming moe girls, I'm just not gonna like it. And there are anime. You might think like, oh, that's not very many songs. You're wrong. There's a lot of fucking anime songs like that. And a good example would be like the Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei OP. Just makes me want to like literally hang myself when I listen to it. It's basically
that's the point.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because that's kind of what that anime is about, I guess. But that's like, I listened to it earlier today, and again, just to do this mailbag. You're welcome, Lady Emery. And it's basically just like, I don't know if it's 200 beats a minute, but it's pretty fast, and it's like, it certainly has a lot of little girl characters screaming in it. So I don't know, it's just not for me. It's just too loud. Like, fuck me. Like, ugh. Good lord.
It's funny. I would say that the Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei like OPs, just like the collection of them as a whole, is probably my like top 10 OPs ever. It's just so dense and extreme, and it's ballsy, and I love it. But I absolutely get what you're coming from. I'm kind of with both of you guys. I just tend to skip a lot of OPs. Like, for me, the worst thing an OP can be is just kind of middling and bland and forgettable. Like, there's so many of those out there that they're forgettable, and I just skip. And when I think about the worst ones, I don't think of those because I skipped them and I can't remember them. I would much rather have the hilariously bad ones, like the German Naruto opening or the Baki second opening, for example. Have either of you guys heard of these?
No.
I might have heard the German Naruto one, but I can't remember.
Naruto!
Jesus.
Naruto!
Definitely
Believe
not.
it! Oh, it's so
they
good.
Created a new opening
For
they
the
didn't
German
dub it
edition.
over.
Yes.
Okay, no, I
It's
have not seen that.
fantastic.
That sounds horrible.
Saosuke, so cool. Sakuya,
No.
the beautiful. It's amazing.
The
I highly
beautiful.
recommend, if you have never looked up the German Naruto OP, it is an experience that is transcendental
German Naruto
and
OP.
enlightening at the same time. It's good. And the Baki second opening is also amazing. It's like the clunkiest CG ever, and it sounds like it could be for a rom-com. Except it's about, a brutal fighting show. It's excellent.
Oh, I
but
want
that's
to
all
add
I
in
got.
another OP that I comically, like to a meme point I hate. That would be the Romeo and Juliet anime. The opening for that is I
yeah.
Raise You Up. So when we were
Oh,
watching
yeah.
this for Anime Club, we would just spam the Josh Groban cover of I Raise You Up in our chat, and it's so cringe. Oh my god, it was overplayed so many times within the show and the OP that we just could not handle this song anymore. It ruined the song for me.
I mean, the song was already a thing, so I don't know how it could have gotten worse. But yeah.
I mean, I liked it when I was younger, but then it became a little bit cringy. But now it's 100%. I can't watch it without thinking about Romeo and Juliet, the anime, which sucked.
Captain Avatar says One Piece rap. No, that's good. It's good. It's like the German Naruto. It's so bad that it's fire. And you can't look away. It's like a slow motion car crash where you're just like, I must observe all 1 minute 30 seconds of it. So it's so good. Let's get into our final piece of this episode.
All right, guys. Yeah, thanks for your mailbags again. AAApodcast.com/mailbag. It'll take you to, the place you want to be to make your submissions. So, and now it's time for impressions. So welcome to the impressions portion of the podcast where we, talk about the winter 2023 anime so we can let you know what's good, what isn't. We're going to watch 21 shows this season, and then we will be able to, pass and fail up to. We're going to pass and fail 6 out of the 21 anime, and then you, the listener, will pick the last 3. So we'll be reviewing 9 shows total from the, from the winter 2023 season, and we hope you'll join us for that. So, who would like to go first?
Well, first things first, we have to play the impressions drop.
Oh my God, you're right.
How could you?
Yeah, I know.
Today, we're going to be doing impressions.
Impression time, believe it.
Thank you, producer.
I'll go first.
Yeah, sure.
So first up on my list today, I will be doing an impression on the 2nd season of BOFURI. Now, if you are unfamiliar with BOFURI, it's basically about a group of friends. They have a VR MMO game that they all really like, but we got our main character whose online name is Maple, and she doesn't know how to play MMOs, and she is afraid of getting hurt in the game, so she put all her points in defense, creating this anomaly of a character with all these abilities, and the moderators of the game absolutely hate her because she keeps on breaking the game with how OP she is with her shield. Just defense, that's all. And it's just a fun anime about a group of friends adventuring in a video game, and it's low-key, and I think everyone that did the review of the 1st season really liked the show. I really like the show. It's nothing that, Mitsuki likes it.
The action.
Cute girl.
Yeah.
As the main character in a VR MMO, which is can be considered an isekai to some people, but this one is not really.
Well, yeah, it was because the action in the 1st season was like way better than it had any business being. I mean, totally caught off guard by that, at least for me.
And it has some other good points too. Like it's funny. Maple is a really cute character, and she has a sidekick, which is a gigantic turtle that is called Syrup, and it unleashes sonic lasers from its mouth, and it's so great. And so I was really excited for the 2nd season. I put it at the top of my list, so I got the chance to do the impression on it. And it's still good. It's still BOFURI. They're still doing adventures, but it's not really like breaking the routine that they have. Like, there's nothing in this 2nd season that can promise anything more than what the 1st season brought. And that's not bad. That's not a bad thing. But if you were not a fan of the 1st season, you're not going to be a fan of the 2nd, and that's plainly obvious. If you like the 1st season, then you're probably excited that, you can get more of these slice of life-ish episodes. And I recommend BOFURI overall. It's a great show, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to fail it because it's not really doing anything new and exciting for us to review about. So, that's that.
Bye-bye, BOFURI. But it could be a listener choice. Honestly, I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Let's not.
I hope not, because I mean, as much as I like it, we are not going to say anything in another review that we have not already said in the 1st review.
I just listened to the German Naruto opening 3 times.
Oh my God.
And it was better each time.
Jesus.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, I watched the 3rd episode last night of BOFURI, and it's unfortunate, but they had a bit of an animation drop for a fight, and I don't know if it's because they had a really high ambition for this particular fight, because they tried to do a lot of different camera work, and the boss or the villain that they were fighting was very intrinsically designed. So yeah, I can understand why they kind of had to go into a 3D or CGI and all that, but it was not looking good. The rest of it looks fine. That was the only case where, it was plainly obvious that it was looking like that. And it's also a video game, so you can kind of explain it away. Well, it's a video game, but it looks nothing like the rest of the show. That was one glaring negative in the show so far. But still, it's BOFURI. It's fine.
All right. Well, I'm going to be doing an anime here called Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill, otherwise known as Tondemo Skill de Isekai Horo Meishi. This is essentially about a guy who, it's an isekai. I mean, it's in the fucking title. So, there's an isekai drop somewhere on the soundboard. This soundboard is very, like, large. There's a lot of shit on here that doesn't need to be on here. Anyway, so he ends up in this isekai world, and the main thing about this anime is that he can order things off essentially Amazon with money, and
Sunny boy?
it just shows up immediately. So he wants to travel from one town to another town. So that's pretty much what happens right at the beginning, and he needs to hire like an escort because he's weak. You know, all he can do is like order curry or some shit off of, you know, theoretical Amazon. It's like literally a digital screen just like appears with his skill, and he could just like tap things and then order them with yen, I guess, and then boom, they just show up like right next to him immediately. Which sounds useless, but he goes to make this journey from one town to another town with this adventurers party that he hired at the guild, and the very first thing that happens is that he's basically cooking food for them, because the one thing he can do in this world is his skill is he's able to cook. And the party, this is his adventuring party, is very happy because normally they're eating like dried jerky and shit instead of like eating real food, and he's like cooking them gourmet fucking food with his skill. You know, he'll be like he populates, or whatever you want to say. He orders like a gas stove and pots and cooking shit and like quality meat. He can order whatever he wants, and somehow like the app takes their like isekai world like money, so it's like silver, gold, or bronze coins or whatever, and it like converts into yen automatically. So it's kind of stupid, but and then of course the key thing that you need to know here is that about, we'll say, not very far into their journey, like in the first night, a wolf named Fenrir, who we discussed for the trivia question, appears, and he smells the food, and he wants the food because this guy's like cooking steaks and stuff, you know, for his party, and of course the wolf wants the steak, so he, you know, cooks food for the wolf, and the wolf is like level 1,000 or something. I can't remember exactly, but it's like it would kill them with just like breathing on them. That's how powerful this wolf is. Like there's absolutely no chance they could fight it. It would just devour them in a second. And so they have no choice but to do whatever it really says. And so the wolf just says, cook me food or I'm going to fuck you up. And so like, that's what he does. And the food is so good that it signs a contract with him and it becomes his familiar. And then, you know, that's pretty much, you know, what happens in the first episode, I think. And in the second and third episode, it essentially consists of the wolf, Fenrir, going out and killing other monsters, like orcs and stuff, for food so that he can cut the meat up and make it into something yummy for him. And, you know, and since they have the meat, I guess, like he'll just order like marinades and all this, you know, vegetables or whatever to make the food, make the orc meat better. But he does do things like he orders like a Wagyu steak, like a really expensive steak for the wolf, and the wolf has killed so many like advanced monsters at a certain point that he's able to sell the materials for, you know, a fortune basically in town, and becomes notorious because he's like this low level, you know, character with no combat skills, but he keeps showing up with all this, you know, like S tier adventurer like kills that he can sell the goods for, and he's making a fortune. So he's got like a ton of gold. But this anime is kind of, as people would say, comfy, I guess. But the unfortunate thing about this anime is that it is kind of okay. Like, it's not bad, but just absolutely nothing fucking happens in this anime. That's really where this anime is failing, is that it has virtually no narrative whatsoever. He literally spends, you know, out of the hour that I watched, the last 45 minutes of it is just him cooking food for the wolf, and the wolf eats it, and he says, you know, ooh, it's good. And then, like, the wolf goes and kills, you know, an orc general, and he'll bring the body back, and they'll cut it up, and then he'll serve up the orc meat, and it just has no point. Like, there's no point to this anime at all. I assume he's just gonna feed the fucking wolf. I'm looking at the character list here, and There's a slime. There's a fucking fluffy looking thing. Oh, that's Fenrir. That they changed his name to Faru on here, which I don't know. And there's a girl named NieR who isn't in the anime yet, but I'm assuming she'll show up and be his familiar too. She's kind of hot, so it'll probably be a harem. You know, I don't know. This anime is just kind of whatever. It's not really worth watching, honestly. I think that if you watch just the first like 2 episodes, you'll pretty much get the entire gist of the entire show, because I don't think anything's really going to happen in this anime, and it's just kind of a waste of time. It's essentially a slice of life isekai, and if you want to watch him feed a wolf for 10 episodes, then you can go right ahead, but I'm not going to do that.
I will be surprised if it's above a 2.
So I'm going to fail it. It's not painful to watch. It's just utterly fucking pointless, and I don't see the point in watching a wolf eat. So, fail.
Fair enough. My first impression today is the show that was at the bottom of my list, and that is Junji Ito Maniac, Japanese Tales of the Macabre, or Macabre, as I like to call it. This is a collection of 20 stories of the famous horror mangaka Junji Ito, including Tomie, Soichi, The Unendurable Labyrinth, Headless Statue, and many, many more. It's 20 of his stories spread across 12 episodes, so some of them are split, and it's on Netflix. And there's some good things to say about this show. First of all, there's a lot of shows this season getting canceled or delayed because of COVID, and this show has negated that because it's already done. All 12 episodes are out. You can watch them all. So, yay, we got a full show this season. That's good. Another good thing, the ED song, As the Gods Say, by a band called Josho, is really good. I love the song. I love the band. It doesn't fit the show at all. Like, it's not fitting in any way, but it's still math rock, and I like it, so good there. There is inherently a aspect of Junji Ito's works beyond the horror, because as we all know, anime is not really good when it comes to being scary or frightful. It kind of misses the mark, and it's really hard to nail down why. But one of the benefits of this is Junji Ito's works are very fantastical. It makes you imagine these hellscapes, and the show actually does a pretty good job of capturing that. Probably one of the highlights of the episodes I watched was episode 3, called The Hanging Balloons, where these massive... Yeah, it's good. These like larger than life kind of blimp-esque heads go around and decapitate and strangle and kill the owners of the heads that they are modeled after. It's pretty cool. And, you know, it's not scary in the same way the manga is, but it captures this world of these hanging balloons that are out to kill you, and anytime you go outside, you're risking death. Like, it makes you think, oh, what would I do? How would I act? Why is that scary? And it gets that across really well. The anime also adds some elements that the manga can't, like the way that the balloon swoops by and grabs you, and the snapping sound as your neck like creaks apart. Like, that's good. That adds so much. And at moments, the show is effective and good, and way better than the previous Junji Ito collection, which was done by the same studio a couple years earlier and is really not good. Finally, the dub is actually pretty solid and worth watching. That said, as a whole, most of the episodes are really not that good, particularly episode 1, which is abysmal, not only from like an adaptation standpoint, but the fact that they started with this story of his, the strange Hikizuri siblings, which is probably one of his like least engaging and one that like misses the essence, appeal, and horror of his stuff. Like, they picked the absolute worst story to adapt first, and I can't believe why they would do that, because it probably turned off so many people. Like, episode 1 is by far and away leagues worse than anything else. If you do want to check this out, and there probably are a couple select episodes that are worth your time, go online and just see which ones are stories you've read or stories that people are saying, oh, episode 3 was good, episode 5 was good, episode 8, and just watch those pockets. But as a collective, as a show, Junji Ito misses the marks more than it hits, and it's a disjointed mess. So watch a couple if you are into it, but really just read his manga. It's a way better experience. So I will be failing Junji Ito Maniac.
But I did look through Netflix the other day, and I came across like the icon of the Junji Ito Maniac, and like the little promo art. That is unsettling as fuck.
Yeah, that was scarier than the show itself.
Yeah, because it doesn't have the title in the icon like a lot of the others do. It's just an insane looking man as its beady eyes peers into your soul, and it screams a scream that you hear even though it's not audible. And it's
It's good. It's what you wish it was. So yeah, if
Yeah.
you watch any episode, watch episode 3. It's a good starting point, and then if you like it, go from there. But it's just not worth your time.
All right.
So should I go next?
You're up, Caroline.
Okay. Well, today I am also going to be doing an impression on the ice guy and his cool female colleague.
Oh my God.
It's a funny title, I have to
Jesus.
say. So I heard about this show a little bit before it came out, and I was thinking to myself, oh, that sounds kind of cute. So basically, in this world, it's very, very similar to ours, except for one little thing. A lot of people are descendants of spirits and, and yokai, I guess. And our main character, the ice guy, what's his name? I forgot. I forget the names. No, it's not Ice.
Iceman.
Mr. Freeze.
He is the descendant of a
Frozone.
snow woman, which is a little strange, a snow woman. And it's not that his mom is a snow woman. It's like he's just a descendant of one. And he goes to work at this business. He works not in sales, but I don't know, accountancy or whatever. And then he meets his cool female colleague. And she is very pretty, but very stoic and not really, and just not really all that emotive, I guess. But she's also a very pleasant and nice and helpful woman that he really, suddenly has a crush on. The thing is that being Ice Guy, every single time that he has any sort of emotion, it just turns into a blizzard around him. No matter what happens, like, oh, if he, if the cool female colleague, suddenly looks in his direction, he gets a little blushy and maybe starts to snow a little bit. If, she compliments him, he gets flustered and then the snow kind of goes crazy. If he's really happy, these little snowman figures kind of just pop out of him, and it's funny. They kind of just float around in these tiny little snowmen, and they kind of hit people in the face sometimes. And it's cute, and they go on dates. Like, they have actually established a somewhat romantic relationship by the 3rd episode, and they have a lot in common. They help each other out, and it's cute. It's simple. There were a couple things I'm not huge on. Like, it feels like it's devoid of the energy that I want, because Ice Guy, while being very emotive and wanting to be very emotive, he kind of has to keep it under wraps, because otherwise, he would completely bury the building in snow. So he kind of has to keep it under wraps. And cool female colleague is cool female colleague. She's not really going to emote all that much, even though she is, she does blush a little bit. She gets a little cute. And also, one thing about this anime that's kind of funny or kind of cool is that they put a lot of movement in the eyes. Like, not really, like, looking back and forth and their eyes move. Rather, they kind of stand still, and as they gaze at each other, because, they have a crush on each other, their eyes kind of flicker a little bit. Like, just the pupil moving back and forth as a normal eye would when they're looking at something, which is pretty cool. And so, as I mentioned before, I kind of want a little bit more energy in the characters, but I know what they're trying to go for here. I also get a little bit nervous every single time Ice Guy has any sort of emotions at all, because I would not want to be sitting next to him at work and feel a blast of coldness and snow in my face, and it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable, like, oh, it's uncomfortable. Overall, it's cute, it's simple, it's nice. I like it, but I don't think that it's review worthy, so I'm gonna fail it.
How about new?
You would just have like hard nips all the time sitting next to that guy, because it'd be because it'd be so cold.
I made a Mitsugi-esque joke in the Discord like last week or something. I don't know if you saw it, but I was thinking to myself, if they ever get to the point in the relationship where they're gonna be, I don't know, a little bit sexual,
Doing the hibbity-dibbity?
He cannot handle any sort of excitement without freezing over. Can you imagine his thing? An icicle, basically. In those kind of situations? It's not going to be good. How is it going to happen?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You're just going to bury her in snow, I guess.
How many ice puns and jokes have there been?
Actually, I don't think all that many.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, wait. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that, like, the whole, like, descendants of, spirits and yokai and whatever, it doesn't really play very much into the anime. It's just 3 characters, basically, that have these circumstances where he's the ice guy. This one girl's a descendant of fox spirit. She's kind of annoying. And one other guy's a descendant...
Hot?
I guess. I mean, she has a tail,
yeah.
So.
Yes.
And
She's
one guy's
learning
a
to just
descendant
answer
of
the
Phoenix.
question.
And that's basically it. It's just established that these few people kind of exist, and they don't really get into it, and it doesn't really make any impact on the world around them. It's just a very normal world, except some people have these strange abilities that get in the way of other people a lot of the time. So, yeah, that also feels a little bit disjointed. But I think I'll still continue with it. It's just not gonna pass.
I'll tell you right now that Raggedy Dodger's going to lose that bet for sure, because if I can make a comment like, everybody in the office is going to have hard nipples, and Caroline isn't even like...
I came up with it.
She doesn't even react. I have to I seriously...
It's true.
I have to dive into South Park-esque NC-17 level jokes to even move the needle with Caroline.
And
so you're fucked, Raggedy.
That is the quality that you kind of brought when I had this Jelly Bean game going.
Well,
so nothing's gonna get up to that standard of ick,
I mean, I think we learned this very episode how adaptable and quickly evolving Caroline is. Earlier today, she was talking about the dog show that was perverted, and you're like, how big's her tits? Is she hot? And she's like, I don't know. Look it up. And you looked it up. Now, you're like, how hot is she? And Caroline's like, yeah, she's hot. Fine, moving on. She grows faster than you can do it.
We're going to ruin her,
because that show was... it's a little bit more of a lewd eye than this show.
I just feel like we're gonna ruin you, Caroline. At the end of all this, you're gonna be, when you joined the podcast, you were this pure flower, very kind and innocent, and now this is what we get.
Grandly fucked over.
You're just throwing out the curse words.
Oh man, you haven't seen nothing yet, because if you had known me back in middle school, high school, I was just on another level of innocence, that to the point where the people that I sat at the lunch table with, they made it their vow to corrupt me, quote unquote, by the end of the year. By the end of the year, not necessarily, but by the end of college, certainly I have been known to drop a couple cuss words, because back then I probably wouldn't have even said hell or damn, but at this point I've loosened up quite a bit, unfortunately.
Much like a girl in a hentai anime. Yep. Which we're going to cover later.
Jelly Bean.
Which we're going to cover later after this podcast episode, where Little Red Riding Hood will be, the wolf and Little Red Riding Hood will have a different type of relationship. All right. Next up on the podcast today is Beria-san Saito-san Isekai ni Iku. Handyman Saitou in another world, which is, you just can't get away from these isekais because there's just so many of them. It's literally 30% of the season is isekai. Oh boy. So, all right. So this anime is about a guy named Saitou, and he gets truck-cooned. So factually, he actually gets fired from his job because they don't appreciate him, I guess, because he's a handyman, and he has his box of shit that he cleaned out of his desk, and he's walking sadly, through the street, and then truck-coon comes along and just wipes out his pathetic existence. And he ends up in this fantasy world, and I don't know what to refer to it as, but this anime has very much Azumanga Daioh, 4 to 5 minute vignette type episodes where they just do a funny thing, and and then they move on to the next thing very quickly. So it's very, I don't know, like Facebook Reels or whatever type like content where it's like, well, if you don't like what we're doing right now, just wait 3 minutes and it'll be different in a second. And in this anime, really the characters are the important thing because the plot moves around so much, it's kind of hard to even talk about. But you have Railza, who's this like chick who wears like heavy plate armor, and she's a knight, so she's like a warrior class or whatever, and she's definitely cute. She does take off her helmet and even the armor a couple times for various reasons, and so she's in here. You have Saitou, who is a black-haired main character, but he's better than most isekai characters for a couple reasons. One, he's kind of rootable because he just wants to be like appreciated and have someone like feel like he's useful because he was always treated like dirt in his other world, and he's not he's not like a blithering loser. He's also not overpowered, and he's also not a lecherous person. So he's actually like tolerable as far as isekai characters go, in the sense that he's not just like sunken into the tropes of hell. Then you get to my two favorite characters in this, La Fan Pan, who is a tiny pixie, who is actually like some race of fairy that was cursed by some god of the moon or something. And so every once in a while, the curse makes them shrink smaller and smaller until apparently they will shrink to the size of like a grain of sand and just vanish from the world, which is a very terrible curse. And the only way to cure the curse, well, I don't think there is a way that I know of at the moment, but in order to make the curse kind of slow down, she has to actually make like monetary offerings to the god. So every once in a while, she'll like do something for the party, and the party will pay her like a gold coin. And then there's a scene where she's like praying and offering the gold coin to this god so that she won't like shrink anymore. And she's already pretty small. I mean, she's like Tinkerbell size, or maybe just a little bigger than that. But Saitou is like a good dude. Like there was a scene where he asked the fairy to, like once he found out that was happening, he asked the fairy to do something for him that he didn't even need her to do it, but he asked her anyway so he could have an excuse to give her like a gold coin to like help her make an offering. Then there's the best character in the show, who's Morlock, who is this old man character who has every trope that an old man character would have. So he's like 85, and he's much higher level than the other characters. I think most of them are like level, well, the handyman guy's like level 5, and then the fairy and the warrior are like level 30 to 40, and then the mage is like level 80. But the mage is so old that like he'll be getting ready to cast some like overpowered fireball spell to wipe out like all these goblins, and he'll forget the spell. He'll get halfway through it and he'll forget it. Or like his back will go out and the pixie will help him. Or, he's just like this old guy that kind of needs to be 50% babysat because he's always, he'll like forget what he's doing or, whatever. And, I actually kind of like this anime. It is funny. It's definitely funny, and it's just not like what you're used to from isekai shows. Like it's not slow and boring like Realist Hero. It's not obviously tropey like Jobless Reincarnation, where it's just like some OP guy gets reincarnated as a baby with like, and he wants to like grab everybody's tits. Like,
no, that needs to be Black Summoner. That's the most tropey.
There's none of that in this. This is just a silly, funny comedy show with a bunch of characters that are pretty likable. I actually think it's rather good. I've got several isekai this season. I've got like 4 of them. And this is, to me, the most easily watchable one that carries the fewest tropes. I have no idea where the story is going to go. It may go nowhere. But to be perfectly honest with you, this show is also pretty mid, in my opinion, to use like a Zenio word. It's very mid, but but other than Vinland Saga, all my anime were mid. So I'm actually going to pass this anime. I think it's pretty good. I enjoy the quick pace of it. It's very silly and dumb, but overall, I'd rather watch Saitou get depressed because his wire cutters broke than watch Rudius have a pair of tits in his mouth and get lewd about it because he's actually a 40-year-old in a 1-year-old's body. So
You say that, but you enjoyed Jobless Reincarnation.
I also enjoy a nice big pair of tits, but
Exactly.
Well,
What are you
yeah, but I
talking
mean,
about?
well, Jobless Reincarnation excels in other ways that make it like an actually good anime. But there's plenty of isekai out there where the character is like a pervert anyway, and it just has nothing redeeming about it. Like harem isekai, for example.
Yeah.
Like this anime
I'm just
doesn't.
saying that was a bad example to use Jobless Reincarnation.
This is like a pretty maybe it was, but like who can forget Rudius nursing his mother as a mentally 45-year-old man?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty fucked
Not
up.
gonna be a thing that I'll forget anytime soon.
And you won't get any of that from this anime because Saitou is
Damn.
a way better, like more normal character than any of these other guys. So I'm gonna pass this one.
Yes. Now this is gonna be a good story.
All right, that's it. That's my I'm passing that. That's my last impression today. And next up is a recent favorite of mine.
Yeah,
Mason,
big
take
one.
it. Yeah.
Going from the bottom of my list in Junji Ito to the number one show I picked for impressions, NieR Automata version 1.1a. This is obviously the anime adaptation of the masterpiece video game, NieR Automata. Tells the story of these alien forces invading with an army of machines, and humanity's fate depends on androids to survive. Based on the game, it's streaming on Crunchyroll, done by A1 Pictures, and this show is a very mixed bag in a lot of ways. Straight up, the number one thing that I have to say about the show, which is spectacular and inherently makes me enjoy it, is that they used the soundtrack from the game.
Thank God.
Which is
God tier.
It's a spectacular soundtrack, and they utilize it well, and it's probably the best part of the adaptation. The opening is pretty bland, doesn't do much for me, but having the game music in there automatically baseline makes this a decent show. So let's get that out of the way. The visuals are very mixed, though. At times, a lot of explosions, a lot of the combat, a lot of just stuff happening looks really good and clean and polished. But there's also a lot of times, similar to how Caroline mentioned the CG in the one scene of BOFURI, every time that they make the androids go in these flight units, these little like mini planes for them to putz around in, it looks just bad. It just is really bad CG models. And
the flight units look bad?
Yes.
That sucks.
The CG flight units, particularly in episode 1, it looks awkward. And the game inherently tells a very good story, and it does it in a very atypical way by having you play the game multiple routes with different things happening at different times, and you kind of have to layer the chronological events in your head as you play, and it's neat. The show essentially does that layering for you. You see the game from everyone's perspective at the same time, which is important. It streamlines it, but it also reduces the impact and twists in a lot of ways. But I would say the biggest problem with this adaptation is that playing the game is by far the superior experience. Particularly episodes like 1-to-1 following the story beats is what it should do, but it just compresses hours of content into a couple minutes, and it just feels like a speed run of like, hey, remember when you fought this boss? Remember when you fought this boss? Remember when you fought this boss? Like, these fights happen over the course of seconds, and the reason why you're fighting it, the stakes and scale and intensity, is all sapped away. It just feels like you're watching a speed run and enemies are dying before you even realize that you're watching a fight scene. It's just a very shallow experience. In episode 1, so similar with Junji Ito, is just really bad. It just fails to hit the mark of what makes the source material great. That said, episode 2 of NieR is a huge step forward. It's a lot of original content. It kind of captures the moment of brevity and moment to breathe and see the world and see the robots water plants and kind of grow and copy humans and see, like, it just captures the world of NieR so much better and is a gem of like, oh, if the show continues like this, maybe it will be a good adaptation. But at the end of the day, despite the good and the bad, the biggest issue of this show is that it's on indefinite hiatus. They came out with 3 episodes, 4 episodes, and they're
stupid.
like, COVID happened, production got jammed up. We don't know when it'll come back. Bye. And I, didn't hate the show. I didn't love it, but I was kind of anticipating that. But inherently, I recommend, as with Junji Ito, read the manga. With this, just play the game. It is just a better experience, and I will like it more, and I know you will too. And if not, you'll just have to wait for the show. But knowing that it's not coming anytime soon, I don't think I can pass the show, despite the good things it had, because we might not get a chance to review it for a long time. So I will be failing NieR Automata. It's not awful. I think it had been getting better, but if it goes nowhere else, there's nowhere for it to go and nothing to review. So fail.
I was surrounded by the suck.
I enjoyed that drop. Okay, so my last impression for today is saving 80,000 gold in another world for my retirement. Yes, an isekai. So the basic of this show is we have a girl. Her name's Mitsuha. She unfortunately lost her parents and her brother in an accident, and that happens before the show begins. So she's mourning the loss of her family. Meanwhile, she goes somewhere. This part was like really quick and not enough for me to really understand every aspect of the scene. But she basically she basically falls off a cliff. She's at this like tourist spot or whatever. She's getting harassed by some guys. She leans back and accidentally goes over the railing of the cliff. Now, as she's falling, she's suddenly transported to this isekai, this new world that is a little bit like a medieval European world. And she is being nursed back to health by a random family. She can't understand what they're saying at all, but she's still trying to figure out her situation. Why is she here? Meanwhile, her dead brother, kind of gets involved with her thinking process a little bit because she always thinks about, what would my brother do? And so a little form of her brother will pop up and they have a conversation, even though he's dead. And it's not even like a ghost. It's just happening in her imagination. And her brother is really funny, and he's enjoyable because he's a bit of an otaku, so he kind of understands this crazy situation more than she does. So she relies on his "what would he do" kind of situation. So she gets into some trouble. Like there's some wolves or whatever that end up attacking her and this little girl that she's living with at the moment. And suddenly she realizes, hey, wait a minute, I'm back at my house. She realizes she can transport herself between worlds. So she can go back home, she can go back to this medieval land, and she decides, I'm going to stock up on all these weapons, I'm going to defeat the wolves, and I'm going to save this girl. So she goes back, she saves the girl, and then she encounters this spirit god, not entirely sure what he is, but turns out that when she fell off the cliff, she conjoined with the god, took away his ability to go transport to other dimensions, so she can go to multiple dimensions by her will. And he also gives her the ability to speak all types of languages, like every language she's now able to speak, which it's a really broken concept because she's like, can I have this? And he's like, yeah, sure, take it. And the end. He doesn't really pop up again so far. This is all very strange and random, and kind of not very well paced, in my opinion. But she decides, wait a minute, I don't really want to do anything in particular in my world, so how about I just save up a bunch of gold currency in this fantasy world, and then come back, trade all that gold for money, and then retire as soon as possible. Because now she can transport herself between worlds, she can transport goods that they would not have in that world. Like a multi-purpose knife. They don't know what that is, and she's like, I can sell this for bank. So she decides, I am going to make a general store and save for my retirement in this really easy way by utilizing her ability to transport herself between worlds. So it's actually a little bit like Realist Hero in a way, because she takes a very what's the word? She just knows what she wants, and she does it in the terms of the economy. Like she sees like they have a need, I'm gonna take advantage of that. And she is shrewdness.
Business-like.
She's shrewd.
She's shrewd.
Yes, that was the word I was looking for. And she takes advantage of a lot of people, actually. She's a little bit of a con artist in a way, because she's upselling so many simple items that is definitely not worth the price that they're paying, but she's getting like hundreds of golds for these things that she's bringing to this new world. But it doesn't really start off very easy. Like she meets up with this noble family that can help her, start up the store. And so she dons this beautiful dress that she got from her world and her mother's pearls, and she spins this fantastical story that she was actually the little sister of a ruler in a far-off land, and she had to escape, and she got lost from her group, and so now she needs to start a new life in this country, and she is really playing these people, really. And all of a sudden, having a very, nice conversation with them, she is it just dawns on her, like, her grief over losing her family, because she kind of feels a familial bond with these people. So she starts bursting into tears, and it's actually very sad. And I was not expecting that to happen in that episode, because all of us, this was not at all very emotional anime, but suddenly it got emotional, and that really interested me. Like, I'm hoping that that kind of thing happens in the future, like, even while it's kind of fun and silly, it brings back a realness that I was not expecting. And overall, it's fun. It's interesting, and there's a lot of things that happen in this anime that doesn't happen in every other isekai, and it just gets better with the introduction of guns, because she goes to like this military post where they're selling weapons and military strength and whatever, and she buys all these guns and weapons to keep her safe in this world. Yeah. And the OP is like filled with her. I love that drop. The OP is filled with her using these guns. So I'm imagining they're going to be pretty important later on. And she's doing all this without any thought towards what she's doing to this fantasy world by introducing these new ideas, like guns and machinery, and the fact that she's bringing fresh fish like days away from the coast, and they're like, where do you get this fish? And she just doesn't explain it. And that I can see this like unraveling very quickly, but it hasn't yet. And I am very interested to see where it goes. And Mitsuha is nice, but she is shrewd. She does not really have, she has empathy, but not like overwhelmingly. Like, she just wants what she wants, and I respect that. So yeah, I'm gonna pass this.
I'm not fucking leaving. The show goes on.
All right, so we've now passed 4 shows. We've passed Vinland Saga Season 2, which needs to hurry up and do something, because it's been 4 episodes of people sleeping in like hay, which is pretty boring. Kinda of the Great Snow Sea, Handyman Saitou in Another World, and saving 80,000 gold in Another World from my retirement. You know, the guy in the Handyman show, or the guy in the Campfire cooking show does the same thing. He discovers that he can order salt, like high quality, like just salt, like regular salt off the Amazon shop for like $1, and they'll pay him like 100 gold for it, because salt is so rare. It's just ridiculous. All right, so we got 2 more shows to pass, and we got 7 more impressions to do, which we'll do next week. And then we'll be doing listener choice after that, so look forward to that. Mason, get us out of here.
Thank you again, everyone, for listening to episode 663 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. If you like the content, if you like what we do, you want more of it, you go to AAApodcast.com to subscribe to the bonus content. It only costs a couple buckaroos, but oh my goodness, you get hours and hours, days, weeks of content for you to enjoy. But if not, you can always just go to iTunes and give us a review. That goes a long way in helping us out. Facebook, Discord, TikTok, it's all there. Twitter, follow it for the updates and stay tuned for the Listener's Choice poll when that comes out in the future. Until then, thank you all for listening.
Our meetup,
yeah.
Do. And we'll be sure
in New
with very fun times. Yeah, see you later, guys. 25 jelly beans today. Good job.
See you next week, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.